food war happened, right? In that loudness and that crazy come from.
I see. So that's what we all, you can also call a state of bliss.
Yes, yeah.
Where you can look at the clouds, on the trees, and you get this feeling, right, of everything alive.
Alive and one.
Alive and one, yeah.
Yeah, without distinction, without calling it anything.
Yeah. Have you ever had that experience?
I've had that experience.
And how long were you able to retain?
Yeah, very short. Like, I think forgetfulness comes out like the biggest enemy. Mine at least. Material calculations. To me, like, I have these plunges into like hedonism every now and then.
So you're overthinking it, Narjas. All you need to do is take the deepest breath of the day and do an Om, and then you can get right back into the creative vibration. Om.
Have you ever tried to document for yourself what made you get into that state?
Or desire. Like nothing, everything begins with some sort of like intent and desire. They need to want to know.
Yeah. That have been given, across be it Islam, Christianity, Hinduism. There's always a state where you are supposed to disconnect from the world and pray. And you need to make a repetition out of it. So there must be something to it, right? Repetition.
Yes, you're just disconnecting from need. The more need for something, the more attachment to that thing. Like you give your body less of food. This is why like yogis and most gurus would like meditate in caves and within the foothills of the Himalayas and stuff. Because you're not just disconnected from the world, you're also like sort of disconnecting from need of sensory perception. Can't imagine a world without that.
I think the whole thing can be boiled down to property taxes because in other parts of the world, are operating legally different, and that impacts our behavior.
Yeah, but a lot of it, okay, let me just put it differently. How much of it is...
Hold on, let me,
Go on,
sense it doesn't even pay property tax. So, Mr. Universe, when your children are young, right, you want to live in an area in which the taxes are good. They might be a little high. Because guess what? Your children are going to be sucking up those resources. But when your children are gone and in school, there's absolutely no reason for you to stay in such a high tax area. And you see, you're just not smart enough or witty enough to know that life goes through these cycles, right? And you have an idea. So yeah, I'm gonna live in a better area with better schools. And then when me and my wife get old, my kids graduate from high school, we're already making our way out. We're making our great escape. Does that make sense? I think the last year or so should be paying more because your last child is due, depending on how far apart they are from one another. Are you going down? Are you going down? No.
Well, in response to what you're saying, I looked up the.
I don't know why you even brought that up. I don't even know why you brought that up.
Well, I looked up the tax brackets in Muslim countries, and it goes as high as 9%. Like they barely have taxation in Dubai and all these Muslim countries. They don't tax the way we tax here. And I'm just saying that because obviously
They
there's
don't have to tax in countries like that. They have so much money.
no, but they do tax. It's in Islamic law. I'm just saying Islamic law.
I understand, but they don't have to. But they're not really taxing for the operations of the government, right? Like, there's so much money.
Yeah, I know, but what do they do with it? They let it sit in Wall Street investment banks. That's what the Saudis do. I mean, that's why they're so goddamn integrated and powerful and so influential with the United States and our operations. And anyways, I was just merely commenting that because
I think they can afford to bomb each other too. I think that's the other great thing.
it's true. But I don't like the thought that like people are obsessive compulsive over, oh my god, I gotta find out how I can figure out God is real. Like it's not a riddle to solve, it's an experience to enjoy basically. So that's kind of the way I look at life now is even Clubhouse is an experience and a happening. And I want, you know, I record everything because so much of it is so frivolous. And as somebody called me pedestrian. So there's just like this frivolity and ludicrousness of people coming on a conference call every day to play a game in the way that there's so many varieties that people play this game. So it's an interesting like observational piece, but also the words that people are using from an observational perspective, if you're like contrary to their position, is interesting. You could just Google like top Democrat buzzwords of 2026, and like that's very insightful to see how people on the left are using specific terms to have communications, or vice versa. You know, Republicans on the right or Muslims.
Yeah. So like I'd like to know what is the reliable information regarding Jesus and before his crucifixion? Like in Islam, they say that he substituted. Sometimes it says he swooned. So how do I know which one is right? Which one do you think is right? So in Christian narratives, they say that like the apostles, they died for believing that Jesus Christ died and resurrected. I'm starting to believe that. I'm having doubts in Islam. So I like to know, like, because Islam says that he was and die on the cross, but
some people say that he went on the cross, but he didn't die. He survived the cross incident. How do I like resolve this?
This may not be.
That was written before the Quran, and where they got that idea. I can share that with you. I think ultimately the choice is going to be up to you, man. You know, so but I'll share the book with you. Give me one second. Read this. Called the Valentinians or the Marcians. Valentinian is going to be more. You can probably find more information with that. So if you go to that book, 479 is the page. 479. I'll even put it in the chat.
Yeah, can you please put it in the chat?
Put it in the chat, and the page is 479. And these are the people who thought he wasn't like he didn't have a human body. He was just spirit. It was just pure spirit. No, he couldn't die on the cross because. And this was their view. Yeah, this was their view. You know what? I don't think it is because he was a real. And plus, when they took Paul's letters, or they took stuff from the Old Testament, they kind of changed. They kind of just picked and choose what they wanted. So I wouldn't, that's the reason why I wouldn't believe in that.
Where do I get more information about the truth? Like, is there like?
That's on you, bro. That's on you. I can only push you in the right direction. So I'm telling you, I'm going to be very biased and a Catholic. I'm going to believe, he's sent from the Father and all that good stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. There's plenty of information out there.
Proven that reading comprehension is a major problem, and actually spending time to read for consistently day to day, an hour a day, it's like it doesn't happen. And what's interesting also is when you listen to people actually try to read on this app, it's very difficult for people to read, and you're like, wow, I thought this person would be able to read at a much higher rate, but they're actually very slow and they can't pronunciate a lot of words and they struggle. So, there are nonprofits that help people actually practice reading, and it's not necessarily intuitive because we're just so technologically consumed with all that content that to actually help people relax and sit down and read, like, that's a great gift for somebody, because like many people are just so quickly through life that they don't have a basically I guess like a what is it, a Havruta or something, twin flame to like consistently read because that experience of reading it, especially if you read it out loud, is a very unique experience, unlike any other experience, and it's actually what people here in this room particularly are most interested in. So it to me it's actually like a mystical experience reading some of these books, you know, even the Bible, obviously. So hello.
Hello? Yeah, I mean, if you keep searching for those answers, you're gonna get them. Either way, you're making the best decision for you, brother. You know, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think you'll be all right. Now, a lot of people like the ritual stuff, religion, the prayer, supplications, these types of things. Now, people really like those types of things. So, like, if you're happy in Islam doing those types of things, I'll just tell you to keep doing that. So figure it out.
What's some of the nonprofit organizations help you read universe? Can you
Just go on Google and you could maybe try to find something local. I used to one in Manhattan Beach, California. It's just like I can't remember the name of it, but you could just Google like local reading workshops, local book club. One way to do it yourself without the club is to just come here on Clubhouse and use the Clubhouse as like a reading room to record yourself reading and to record other people reading. And you can, you know, try to coordinate and get the same book so you can follow along. You can also record yourself using another cell phone or your current cell phone reading a book just using the recorder function, or you can use YouTube to or use your camera and record yourself reading and then upload the video and then listen to the playback. That's how I do it. It really reinforces the comprehension if you can hear yourself reading complicated material, because then you start piecing together all the concepts and a large language model for you.
okay. Thank you.
The Pritzker team is running on a message of raising wages and lowering costs.
You know,
How about lifting all ships, right? They talk about, we're going to make it more affordable. Jamie Pritzker's
was that they were going to choose the do that night.
Yeah. Another day. Yeah, my wife made some slanted meatballs last night.
Well, how'd you eat them? You make a sandwich or just? Have you? I was looking up yesterday the Constitution of Islam. Have you ever read the Medina Constitution by Muhammad? For their prisoners, for their hostages, for paying the blood money. A lot of it is allowing Jews to operate underneath the authority of Muhammad, and then also calling themselves out as a new separate political entity throughout the world, independent of all other political organizations, and they call themselves the Ummah. But from the perspective of the Jews living in the area who are involved in many of these declarations, it's incredibly odious, obnoxious, ridiculous. I mean, it's as if somebody in your own neighborhood said, "You now work for me," and it's basically gangsterism, mafiaism, and criminality and tribalism and gangsterism. I mean, it's gangs. Yesterday on Wikipedia, I was like, oh my God, I've never heard anybody talk about this, because I was reading Winston Churchill quotes about Mohammedan law and how ridiculous it is and destructive it is and how harmful it is to women because it makes them literally chattel property. And Winston Churchill's quotes on Islam are really interesting. But that led me to realize there's got to be an Islamic constitution. Like, it has Mohammedan law. So what is Mohammedan law? And then, you can get into the Sharia aspect. But the problem with a lot of religious Muslims on this app, etc., other places, is that they're not willing to discuss Mohammedan law as opposed to the Sharia religious Ummah perspective. They are incapable of basically stop being religiously extremist and get to the law on the ground in the courts. And
Here it goes. Constitution of Medina. Thank you for the new topic. Sometimes we need somebody else bringing up topics. This is a good one. This looks like a rabbit hole. I'm gonna have to punch it in my chat. Let me tell you something. Once I do,
I was debating interesting how they contrast. And from a Western perspective, Islam is intolerable because it's, anyways, I don't want to say it's psychotic, but it's an in group that it's all out groups under its control. It's basically it's mafia gangsterism, and it's tribalism at its worst. So that's what the Constitution of Medina. That's why you can use it to debate in such a way that spiritual, religious Muslims can't win that debate because they're living in 2026, not 700. And when you update them to the year in which we're living and the progress of judicial and legal Western progression from Magna Carta to the Constitution, etc., these documents make the Constitution of Medina look so
I'm sorry, I wish that was the case, but where Allah speaks is eternal, it's forever. So, yeah, good luck.
I mean, it's just a talking point, but I'm just saying that like debating the Constitution of Medina with Muslims is a very interesting way to engage with Muslims because now we take them off the ledge and bring them back into the courtroom. And we say, hey, these are your amendments and your proclamations. Let's go over them one by one and try to find out whether or not we think it's okay in 2026. Hello?
No, but you see, what you're doing is you're letting the cat out of the bag. We shouldn't be telling them these things because we want them and then they figure it out when it's too late. So I don't understand why you want to tell them these things. Let them back this shit up. Why educate them? Why keep universe? Why do I have to keep educating Muslims on their own doctrine? Is my response? Is this my calling?
No, but
Am I the Muslim whisperer?
I'm just saying that Clubhouse you should try to treat it like a courtroom because there are people on this app that come on here and make death threats regularly, and I've told those people they're out of compliance, and I say you can't come on this app and use it as a place to make death threats. That's out of compliance, and you're in the wrong. And as you've heard, many Muslims on this app just regularly make death threats. So what I'm just trying to say is that like you're the judge, we are either the plaintiff or the defendant. Bring up a topic that no one brings up, the Constitution of Medina.
It's gonna be to the point where this is such an interesting topic that they're not gonna know about because they'd rather hide and asking what's a contradiction that God and man can be a God and a man at the same time. That's more important than knowing about the Constitution of Medina. Did you hear the conversation I had with this guy? His name was Dodo. I literally explained to him the who and the what and how he see God. What's the first question he asks me? this same thing that I just said to him. Yeah, they have no respect for nothing. They have no respect for other humans. They only want to hear out.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, so they don't.
You see Rabbi down there? He is basically pulling the same shtick that Jordanian schmuck in Toronto, who also went by Rabbi McDickerson. See, these Christians that come out of the Middle East that have lived amongst the all or nothing Muslims that claim that they are their bosses, I think it all originates in this Medina Constitution, where today you have all these Orthodox Christians living amongst Muslims, and you know what the percentage of approval rating is from Christian to the Muslim? It's like less than 10%. They hate. Talk to any Christian that comes out of the Middle East, and they literally hate the fucking Muslims. They hate them. They hate their attitude. They hate their legal correspondence. All of it. Like, their attitude sucks, and it's all in my opinion, it's all because of this Medina Constitution. Is a legal historical document, and it's like, I mean, it's not legislated. It's a proclamation. It's not like a debate, not an election. It's gangsterism. It's mafiaism. It's tribalism at its worst. And what I'm saying is, many of the Muslims today that the Christians hate, those Muslims don't even know about it, but they still are acting subconsciously through progression as if they are the Ummah, and everybody outside of it, is subjected to their political organization. It's not just religion, it's political science and political organizing. And it's right there in this historical document. It's a very important Islamic historical document. And every major religion has their set of laws. And Mohammedan law, this is the first example of Mohammedan law. And I've run it through Grok, I've run it through ChatGPT. There's a tremendous amount of information on it in terms of like groundbreaking. An all or nothing fascist, messianic, occult, gangster, tribalist, type of setting. Hello?
Tasting stagnant. It's just old. Are you saying it's just an outdated system, or like but what is it? Is it outdated?
Yeah, it didn't update. And what I'm saying is the experiments in the West with jurisprudence, Magna Carta, and individual liberties and freedoms, that's the update of mankind. But Islam is still living from this, the 622 Medina charter. It's the Charter of Medina, or the concept. They're still living off of rules and laws from 622. They don't update. And so
beneficial.
I mean, I guess guess if he wants to, yeah, sure. Why not? I would be more focused on seeing if the United States can help update this system in Medina. I think with our influence, we could show them the proper, because I mean, we did a great job with the oil. That I'm thinking that if we just show them the same way with the government, I mean, we wouldn't have these problems in the future. I mean, look how well of a job we did with Israel. I mean, look at their government; it's so liberal and progressive and.
Compulsory. It basically it enslaves Jews. Either you will join us in our war, or we will fucking kill you. And we don't care if you practice your little fake religion at home. It's so ridiculous. Caleb, do you know about the Charter of Medina, the Constitution of Islam?
Wait, this sounds like the Civil War. Sounds like the Civil War to me. I don't know, man. I don't think this is a good argument. They're just gonna throw this back in my face. Like, well, you brought the Africans here, then you made them fight, and then you made them build the country. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna say the same thing about us. The one thing we can say is they're not second-class citizens. I mean, sky's the limit. So, I don't know. I guess we can look at the time.
Read the text and actually think about it from our perspective and just how ridiculous it is. You can. It's obvious that the Jews that were living there wanted to get the fuck away from this mafia kingpin. It's just gangsterism, and it's right there in the history. The charter is a historical document. Anyways, the way that they break it down.
Let me see if I get some bullet points. Okay, keep going.
Well, let me just go to the Wikipedia page and read to you what I think are the most controversial clauses of the charter.
Would you people tell us about the dancing Israelis by any chance, Mr. Universe?
I don't know. What's it like being schizophrenic and retarded? Okay.
I don't know. That's you.
Yeah, I know. Projection's a motherfucker when you figure out what it is.
Interesting. You're not happy with Islam.
Okay, that would be my first complaint. As we continue on, you go through all the blood and his Ummah of all liability. This is the second part of the scam, is that he literally defers liability of prisoners and hostages and all reparations to these individual groups like the Banu an Najjar and the Banu Amr ibn Auf. So he's basically naming these groups as captains in his new hierarchy of mafiaism. Now we get to section 12, where it says, and the believer shall not leave anyone hard pressed with debts without affording him some relief, in order that the dealings between the believers be in accordance with the principles of goodness and justice. So calling people believers and non-believers to Muhammad's all or nothing statement that he is the prophet of God, that is also no believer shall enter into a contract of clientage with one who is already in such a contract with another believer. Meaning that you can't do two deals with two believers, because basically now you're creating a Ponzi scheme. Historically, there were tremendous debts between these groups, and everybody's arguing. So Muhammad is trying to act as the judiciary to essentially resolve these major conflicts, and that's what this charter deals with. A believer, this is number 14, a believer will not kill a believer in retaliation for a non-believer, and will not aid a non-believer against a believer. And as Megatron said, basically this sets us up for civil war conflict, because either you're with us or you are against us and you're a non-believer. Number 15, the protection, dhimma, of Allah is one, the least of Muhammad views these people, they're not going anywhere. He thinks they're a part of the background. And so he's not just going to give up a group of people that can contribute to his ummah, but it's not true equality. Number 17, and the peace of the believers shall be won. If there be any war in the way of God, no believer shall be under any peace with the enemy apart from other believers, unless this peace be the same and equal, binding on all. So again, we go from we will give Jews equality and we will not oppress them, but they have to join us in our wars. Like, what the fuck? I mean, number 18.
All right, let me push back before we go to 18.
What the fuck?
So, what they're saying here in this post is that it's often described as one of the foundational documents of the first Islamic still debate about the wording, participants, the timing, and how exactly it's functioned. So that's going to be their pushback. Do you understand? Can you handle some of these questions? I mean,
yeah, for sure. Again, you have to look at this as like a constitution or a charter, which is the roadmap for a project. If you've ever worked in project management, which I know you do, and you have to create charters and do all of this planning.
just do scope of work. Scope of work.
This is a scope. This is a scope. Anyways.
Yeah, the scopes are short term. They have goals.
Okay, this is number 19. It says, and the believers as a body shall take blood vengeance in the way of God. Number 1, and undoubtedly pious believers are the best and in the rightest course. Number 2, and that no this is some kind of advancement in human theory or political science. This is like, I'm telling you, this is so rudimentary gangish. Like in Chicago, we have the Gangster Disciples. And if you want to join that gang, you have to write the charter on a piece of paper, and it becomes like an incredible piece of artwork. But it's got all the rules of the gang. It's this. This is the same fucking thing. Our Constitution.
I don't know, man. Look, you gotta see what I'm getting out of this. Preserves identity, but subordinates it. But each tribe keeps its customs. Disputes go upwards of Muhammad. And there's a constitutional inclusion of Jews. The Jews are described as one community with the believers. They keep their religion and they must be loyal to the political order. But they do say religious tolerance doesn't
or the husband or wife be satisfied with blood money. Isn't that kind of like intimidation? You know, like you're gonna take the fucking money. There's not gonna be no fucking trial. You see what I'm saying? And all believers shall actually stand for this ordinance, and nothing else shall be proper for them to do. That dude, that's fucking intimidation money, man. That is so. Number 20 clearly shows you that there's no process. There's no trial. You don't get social justice when your fucking husband was murdered. The Uma comes to you and says, "Hey, we're sorry about your loss. Here's the money." Say, "Oh, I don't want the money. I want you to try. You know, I want you to try Abdul over here and kill him for killing my husband." And then they say, "Well, he was a believer. We can't." Right there in number 20. Differ about anything. It could be like, I like the color of the button on your shirt. You got to refer to God and Muhammad. Now, Rabbanu Shalom, if you listen to the Jews, you know, Rabbi Tavia said to Rabbi Tuva, you know, "Hey, you're missing a button on your shirt." And he's like, "Why didn't you ask Hashem, you know, to get you a new button?" He goes, "I wouldn't dare go to Hashem, waste his time about my button." He says, "Go to Hashem with everything." But here in number 22, we learn that if you got an issue, you don't have to just go to God. You can refer it to God, but you also have to take it to Muhammad. And now that is really one of the problems with Islam, is that Muhammad has this special judicial dispensation. And this judicial dispensation, again, gives Muhammad the ability to make all or nothing claims in the Ummah. The separate political, all or nothing special appropriation. It's really totally unfair to people outside of the Ummah. And thus, it creates perpetual conflict, which you could say is a methodology. And I think in America, with the Republicans and the Democrats, this uniparty system, I think actually it's kind of the same principle where it's the Tao, basically black and white. We intentionally create a friction and a conflict to basically excel, exceed, to go forward. That it's in some ways part of the recipe. And a lot of people don't like that cooking. They don't like that recipe. Anyways, number 23. And the Jews, this is what I was most surprised about, is that the Constitution of Medina, the Charter of Medina, it's asshole. This is number 23. And the Jews shall share with the believers the expenses of war, so long as they fight in conjunction. So, could you imagine making this proclamation, going to like an auditorium full of Jews in one of these tribes and being like, listen up, everybody. You guys are going to have to share in the expenses of our war and our conquest. And you have to fight in conjunction with us. If not, well, we got bad news for you guys. You ain't going to like the outcome. Number 24. And the Jews of Banu, shall be considered as one community, Ummat, along with the believers. Again, remember, this is a declaration. The Jews there didn't get a vote. They were told this by their new masters. Again, this is a reframe. This is Muhammad's imposed projection and reframe upon the Jews. Muslims theirs, be one client or patron, but whoever does wrong or commits treachery brings evil only on himself and his household. I kind of like how they follow it up there with, like, even though we might not catch you, we want to warn you. That's what it's really saying. Number 25. And the Jews of Banu Najr shall have the same rights as the Jews of Banu Af. Oh, isn't that nice? They are literally publicly declaring in their charter that the Jews of Banu Najr and the Jews of Banu Af will have the same rights. Isn't that nice of them to declare that they get the same rights? But they don't actually even say equal rights with us in the Ummah. Again, this is all framing. And if you understand political science, and you can also detect the inferiority complex of the individuals who are now trying to essentially reframe the entire dynamic of their environment. Banu Jusham shall have the same rights as the Jews of Banu Af. So all of these Jews living in the Saudi Arabian province in this area, or in Medina and all these surrounding areas, they were issued proclamations saying that they have the same right. Well, they're like, well, no shit. We already fucking knew we had the same rights, and you're taking away our fucking rights. So now you guys can kind of see the reframe of the frame. Number 30, and the Jews of Banu Thalaba shall have the same rights as the Jews of Banu Af. But whoever does wrong or commits treachery brings evil only on himself and his household. Remember, that's the warning. Like, don't fuck around or you're going to find out. Number 31, in Japhna, or the branch of the Thalaba tribe shall have the same rights as the mother tribes. Man, I can't see, if I was Jewish living around these cocksuckers, this would have been my warning. This would have been my red flag when I was like, you guys, We have got to get the fuck out. Of them shall go out to fight as a soldier of the Muslim army without the permission of Muhammad. Meaning that basically that's what the five families say. You can't whack a capo unless you get the permission of the Godfather. Oh my God! Do you guys see the genius of basically reinterpreting the Charter of Medina as the charter of the Don Corleone crime family? God, these guys were fucking merciless. Number two, and no obstruction shall be placed in the way of anyone's retaliation for beatings or injuries, and whoever sheds blood brings it upon himself and his own household, except he who has been wronged, and Allah demands the most righteous fulfillment of this treaty. Now that sounds like an all or nothing statement from hell. You could just say that to like anybody in any situation, give nobody any justice, and they just be like, what did he just burden of their expenses and the Muslims theirs. Again, the Jews shall bear the burden of their expenses and the Muslims theirs. But you know what? What are the Jews' expenses? Well, it's what we fucking tell them. It's what they're going to pay. Subsection 2, and if anyone fights against the people of this code, they're of the Jews and Muslims, mutual help shall come into operation, and there shall be friendly counsel and sincere behavior between them, and faithfulness, and no breach of covenant. Now that sounds pretty nice, right? However, again, this is a public proclamation declaration. It is political propaganda, meaning when people read this, they were like, oh, well, that sounds very nice that they're going to give some equality.
You keep saying, they said that like 12 times.
Is Muhammad has to frame it to make it politically acceptable. If he was to just make this a troll document and shit on them, it wouldn't be nice. But he's trying to essentially conceal his true intentions. That's the essence of all political science, is to basically make people think that, see, he's trying to do a positive dialectic here, but it's not, bro, because you know at the end of the day, the Godfather, he's the shot caller. This is just a way to basically make it seem like he's not the shot caller that he is. Up next, the clients, Mawla, shall have the same treatment as the original persons accepting clientage. He shall neither be harmed, nor shall he himself break the covenant. So a lot of this is contractual agreements and trying to define what it means to it shall be referred to God and God's messenger Muhammad, and God will be with him, who will be most particular about what is written in this code and act on it most faithfully. Well, again, this was written during the time of Muhammad. It's not perpetual. It's not like you can go to Muhammad right now in 2026 and get some judicial relief. In which Muhammad was living, he was trying to essentially protect himself and make himself the sole authority. Number 42, the Quraysh shall be given no protection, nor shall they who help them. The Quraysh shall be given no protection, nor shall they who help them. Meaning that Mohammedans will destroy the Quraysh and anyone that helps them. Number 43, and they, Jews and Muslims, shall have each other's help in the event of any force invading Yathrib. So again, this document was This is the Charter of Medina by Muhammad, not by the Jews. The Jews are all like, what's this new shit? What's this to read? What the fuck is this shit? Holy shit! Let's get the fuck out of here and go to Europe. This is fucking bananas. Who the fuck agreed to this shit?
You know what you need to look up? As I think you're leaving a big part out of this. Is the Ibn Shah and Ibn Shah. The people that say these works of his lifetime. And who actually is on that document to say that they have these, or who's the one who went to go look for them? Because they only know about it because of some German guy that went down there and collected information about it. It's not like they actually have these documents, you know. They have copy. Which is really weird. So it's kind of funny how you're coming up with this information. Or how they have this information. Because I'm not exactly sure who's taking any of these things serious.
Prosecution and malevolent treatment of their fellow neighbors, they would realize, you know what? Maybe we weren't so nice to all these people, and we came down kind of hard on them and forced them into our revolution. Because again, the Ummah is its own separate political body. That's the new in group, and everybody else, well, you're part of the fucking out group, and now you got to pay some protection money. And shall be a party to it. If they invite the believers to some of such affairs, it shall be their Muslims' duty as well to reciprocate the dealings, excepting that anyone makes a religious war. So they were worried about religious war between themselves. I'm thinking like these Jews at this point, they had to be on not on the fence. They were on guard, I think, as soon as they saw this charter. Subsection 2. On every group shall rest the responsibility of repulsing the enemy from the place which faces its part of the city. Oh my God, every group. So now they're saying now the Jews got to fight for their part of the city against an invading force trying to destroy the Ummah. Number 45. And the Jews of the tribes of Aus, clients, as well as original members, shall have the same rights as the people of this code, and shall behave sincerely and faithfully towards the latter. Now, one shall sow, so shall he reap, and God is with him who will most sincerely and faithfully carry out the provisions of this code. See, I really love how at the end of it, they always throw out this very like pompous declaration, which is like a flattery to good intentions, but it's really not. Go ahead.
I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about, but listening to you read something from a book is so much better than what I did for the past 25 minutes, which is maybe 35 or 45, which is listen to concrete rant and drone on monotonously, endlessly, racially charged without making any sense whatsoever. I feel like I am stupider for having listened to that. And listening to you read from a book, I don't care what the book is. Just the fact that you're reading from a book here. Keep going, please. Thank you. Somebody muted me up, but yeah, keep going, keep going.
See, I think when you use Clubhouse and you actually listen, to somebody who's allowed to just free flow their thoughts, you become the concrete. And that's actually the experience you had here, and that's what you don't like, because it's totally obnoxious and outside of what you think could be productivity. So You aren't just what you say you are what you listen to. And it's an experience. And we are currently reviewing the Medina Charter by Muhammad and just how unfair it is to the Jews. Subsection 46, and this prescript, this is the last one, and this prescript shall not be of any avail to any oppressor or breaker of covenant. Of covenant. And God is the protector of him who performs the obligations with faithfulness and care, and is also his messenger, Muhammad. All right, everybody, I want to thank you for coming to Muhammad the Musical. And so, do you think that the Jews living in Israel and all the Arabs and the Muslims that surround them, do you think it's kind of like the white and black relationship in America? Hello?
That's actually but everything you described there is exactly what the Christians did when they came to America. So kind of like think that those rules are kind of like pansy compared to the ones.
Wait, what did the Christians do?
What happened with that?
Did they cut people's heads off?
It gets messy. I don't think we do it. Because I've seen
You're in a left turn only lane. You're not allowed to go straight from this lane. And they say, what do you want me to do? What do you expect me to do? And they don't even say, thank you. They just say, oh, leave me alone. Go to drive your car.
Is everyone in this group from like
it's East Coast.
Okay.
Well,
The universe contains atoms.
I was talking to McKay.
Everyone on the side is from New York. I'm not going to fool you. It's everywhere in places.
Well, I was talking to Mikhail yesterday, and he claims that the Medina Charter is like resolved, and that I don't know. He has a way of like resolving this. I suppose even historically or spiritually. Unevolved body types. It's just a theory. Could be comedy. I don't know. Hello?
what's with the whole thing?
Oh, it's a clubhouse thing. No, I understand. It's a clubhouse thing because I go into rooms all the time and I hear women going, "Hello?"
There's launching the show.
See, what's so amazing in the paperwork, he actually says if there's conflict, go to God, but also come. He's so successful at it. I mean, to think that right now in 2026, he has 1.1 billion people that pray to him, love him, and think that his way of life is the optimal solution to colonialism, to Western imperialism, to unenlightened legal systems. But when you actually look here in the charter, the legal system is just based on intimidation, blood money, and it's just so it goes to show you that a true Muslim is a true Muslim if they know nothing about it. If you know nothing about Islam, well then you are a true Muslim because basically you have to just be stupid and you don't know anything about what you think you know. Many people mind read. They're thinking about what somebody else's brain is thinking or something. It's like a compulsive behavior. And because of all the stuff that they have in there about the Jews, it just kind of, it's a red flag document. Like, view this as like a dating profile. You swipe right on the Charter of Medina and you're like, I'm detecting a lot of red flags on this profile here. That's basically one way to like compress it, to try to get home my point that uh, Western culture and Charter of Medina culture are at odds, and it's just a historical fact. the The Islamic invasion of Europe, whether it's 2026 or 725 or whatever year the caliphates, um, it's a dark period in human history because it's basically industrialized mafia gangsterism, all or nothing thinking based on brutal slaughter.
I think they're kind of sloppy when they talk about it. Probably.
I'd like to answer. I'd like to.
Other than that, I mean, I think it's just hey, but they took over the land.
Well, if you say what's wrong with that, the answer is it's not intelligent. But why? What's not intelligent about it? It's because with language translating apps and books and writing and psychedelic drugs and psychotherapy and meditative thought and cross-cultural experience, we are able to
Can you add
communicate.
one more?
No,
Yeah,
just
one more.
chilling and being homies. We are able to communicate with each other through the process of chilling and being homies. And we should be able to transcend what we've been doing for millions of years, which is smashing each other's brains with a rock. And if he's saying the Charter of Medina culture is not compatible with cosmopolitan contemporary. We have clubhouse, and we have colliders, we have automobiles, and we should evolve. We should allow ourselves to evolve
I
past.
think, my friend, I think Megatron gets that, but I just want to submit that if I could try to define God in any way accurately, it would be to say that God has to be the highest level of intelligence in the universe. Whatever, if you want to say the whole universe is like a collective intelligence, one way to look at it is to actually look at a tree. My friend here actually does a lot of stuff in the forest, but I have a tree in my backyard and I was looking at it And I thought, you know what? Every man and a woman is a leaf, and the branches are communication networks. And there's all these other variables impacting this tree system of leaves and branches. And there's all these different variables and names for different parts of the tree, whether it's the roots or the husk or the convince them. I'm just saying from like a public speaking perspective to try to like put some light on dark periods of history by showing the all or nothing statements in documents like this. Because we could also now transition to Magna Carta and then get into Declaration of Independence and try to show transcendental thought, which is saying that we will still engage in professional soldiery and war, but this type of gangster mafia, Don Corleone, five family shit, it's not acceptable in polite society. And we will root it out and we will fight it to the death. In the same way that the FBI, CIA, etc., has probably gone to war with secret societies and they themselves are a fucking secret society. But, anyways, I'm just trying to say, you know, the last chapter of Balthasar Gracian's book is Be Good. In a word, be a saint. And when I talk to Mikhail, he's like a demon saint, you know? And I'm trying
The people on the opposite end of the spectrum of your friend Mikhail that don't want to find kind of words of any point or any way. And it's much easier for them to punch you for bringing up the problem than it is to punch them for being the problem. It's just what it was full of.
Yeah, but he's lying about Mikhail. He's just being a big baby about it. You know?
Well, I'm just using him as an example.
He feels threatened by this man.
No. Using him as an example. I'm just saying there's got to be deranged people out there who are dangerous people and they can utilize. See, well, philosophically, the now is a compression of the past and the future. We know the future, but if you spend time studying the past, you're basically clarifying the now. You can't really predict the future, but based on the compression, I'm just saying Islam, you know, this charter. This is an old project. They're still running the same experiment on an old project charter. Their scope is out of date, therefore they all suck and are out of date. Yeah, they don't care because they're stupid. But see, that's the fun of making fun of people and calling them stupid.
See any patches? I'm asking you.
See, I think I actually would like to have been a lawyer because when I listen to litigators on this app go on a dopamine litigation tear, you realize that like courts and lawyers and protocol and the ceremony of going to trial, it all sucks because those fuckers who are making money there at your expense are just going on a dopamine trip at your fucking expense as the victim of a court. It really kind of sucks. So I could see how legalistically, referring all issues to Muhammad and the Ummah could probably be better than going to like a Western woke liberal courtroom. And I'm not saying I want to be a Muslim. I'm just saying I think a lot of the Americans, especially in the legal judicial industrial complex known as lawyers and attorneys, they are fucking vampires and they shouldn't be entitled to the high adjusted gross income that they derive out of the blood, sweat, and years. You know what's so funny is I got slandered when I ran for Congress. They claimed that I committed petition fraud. But the funniest thing is the guy that claimed that, the attorney who represented Darren LaHood, my opponent, he got paid $120,000 for 1 day of work to show up before the judge. Isn't that fucking amazing? $120,000. A congressman paid a lawyer to challenge me, John Kitover, in court. And so for him to slander me, but be one of the greatest paydays of his fucking life, I made that for him. And it's only because I ran that he got that fucking money. And I didn't commit fraud, but libel in politics is real because you can slander anybody. I mean, they're going to have to bring suit against you. And it does impact, voter sentiment on whether they want to go to the ballot box because now they think you're a fucking scumbag. But anyways, that's neither here nor there in the Megatron Daniel Uma room. Tamaria, welcome to the room. Are you aware of the Charter of Medina?
Sorry, what was the question?
Are you aware of the Charter of Medina issued by Muhammad?
Oh, no, I'm not familiar.
Are you a Muslim, sir? Because we do believe that there's a high correlation amongst Muslims that are completely unaware of the Charter of Medina, the Constitution.
Are you a Muslim, Tamaria?
No, I'm not a Muslim.
Okay.
You know,
Was doing a free. Did you hear this?
I know, I did actually. I heard the follow up. I also heard him follow up on it. Beef, you're one of my favorite people here. I just want to let you know. And the fact that you don't bring me up on your stages,
It's like, I'm going to make you drink my cum or something. Insane.
Yeah, really crazy. But look at his PTR. Look at the coloration in his skin. And like, see, I don't have issues with sun, but I do have, everybody has skin issues. Like Chelsea Clinton, Hillary Clinton's daughter, I just saw she ran like the Boston Marathon. And I was like, what in the fuck is wrong with this bitch's skin, bro? She's got psoriasis everywhere. I was like, yikes. Like, she was so pale. And so I do think there is something about the sun. And if you are a Christian and you are constantly referring to the sun, there's power in the sun. I do think I'm just a sun worshiper. And it's the source of tremendous because if we have a universal God and we have a universal sun, it's just metaphor for the light of the sun. And this is where Kabbalah comes in, where Ein Sof, the limitless light, pours into all the 10 Sephiroth. And now you got 10 variables to meditate on, like Chokmah, Binah. Like, these are mantras. They're vibrations. Hello?
Hang on, real quick. No, but real quick, I've got a question for you. But I have a question for you, actually. I was going to say something to you. One sec. Well, no. Welcome to the stage, Beef. Yeah. The stage. One second. Hang on. I know you want to crash out. I'm sure you want to crash out, but I just wanted to ask you, how come you don't accept me to the stage? Every time I'm in your rooms and you're the moderator, you never invite me to the stage. I'm just wondering about that. When I'm in the audience in your rooms, I always raise my hand when I'm in the audience in your rooms, and you never invite me up on the stage when you're the moderator. I'm just wondering, why don't you invite me up on stage when you're the moderator in your own rooms? Do you have a problem with me or something? Because there are many times that I've been raising my hands when I get in the audience in your rooms. I'm talking to Beef. Beef, basically, when I'm in your rooms and I can raise my hand and you don't let me up on stage, there's a particular reason why. I'm going to let you finish. I just wanted to ask this question really quick, if I could. The question is essentially, when I'm in your rooms, I'm going to let you finish. You can go right after me. Go for it. But I wanted to ask, how come when I'm in the audience in your rooms and you're the moderator on stage, why don't you let me up onto the stage? Why do you always make me wait in the audience? I see that you want to speak, but I'm trying to ask you a question. So I don't even know what you're saying. You're probably saying some sort of nonsense right now. You're probably talking right now about fucking me in the ass or making me drink all of your time because you're really I don't know what you're saying, to be honest with you. I have no idea. Nor do I care. But I do have a question for you. My question, quite simply, I'll just try to ask it again because I'm sure that you're not listening. But my question is, when I'm in the audience in your rooms, you're the moderator. Can you just listen to me for a second? So when I'm in the audience and you're the moderator on stage, you don't don't let me on stage. Anthony, that's a question for you. Anthony, because you're a piece of trash. You're a rotten, disgusting, smelly piece of trash. All of your contributions are worthless. I don't want to speak. You're not intelligent. You're not funny. You don't have a savoir faire. You don't have a sang-froid. You're not a fucking wit. You're just a fucking piece of trash. You're annoying. You're a loser. You're ugly. You're stupid. Nothing you say is of any merit or value. I find you uninteresting. You're a fucking literal fucking worm, intellectually and rhetorically. And I find it completely uninteresting to hear the sound of you. So the reason why I don't let you on stage is because you are a literally worthless fucking piece of trash. You're a fucking rotten, self-hating piece of shit that others hate you as well. So it's not just self-hating. The world hates you, and you are fucking disgusting. Milk toast, boring, fucking, uninteresting, redundant, unfunny, worthless fucking trash. That's why glad to bring you on stage.
Okay, thank you. I just had that one. I just had that one question. Can I hear that again?
No, I just asked Beef a question.
Hold on. I want to hear what he had to say. What were you saying, Beef? Can you say that again?
Oh yeah, sure. So what I was saying to my friend, it's the reason why I don't invite him on stage is because he's literally worthless. Nothing just matters. He's the most boring person I've had the displeasure of running into on this app. It's actually fucking blood coming out of my ears when I hear you. You're a fucking plague, an audio plague. And even when I put my fingers on my ears, I still can't drown out the shriek, shrill, fucking awful of your voice.
Okay. All right.
You said that you had a video.
Thanks for letting me go first.
My
I appreciate
Islam
that.
document. You said it was popular. Where can I find the video that you have about me discussing Islam in my document? I'd love to watch it.
Thanks for letting me go first, Sam. That was nice of you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Hope you got my answer satisfactory.
No, it's not a video.
Very clear.
Sam, it's not a video of you discussing your document. I screenshotted your Google Word doc and made a video out of it, and then overlaid Muslim music, and it was very popular.
Where can I find that?
I'd have to Google it because I have over 100.
Kitover Islam, something like that, or
Maybe. I think maybe you could type in like Sam Rosen Clubhouse Islam Google Word doc, maybe. I said to him, when you realize what projection is, it's a motherfucker. Because there's a little projection and then there's a big projection, the big P projection. And if you believe in the little self or you believe in the big self, when you insult other people and you do ad hominem projection, it's always just, the way you feel about yourself because your dialectic is who you are. And so everything that Beef just said to my friend is the way that Sam Rosen actually feels about himself. And I feel sorry for you, Sam. And I hate hearing you cry on this app. And I just hope you find the strength within your tuchus to bust the nut and be happy again. Hello?
Wow, that was very kind.
I am happy again. I was when he first met me. I was very miserable because I had recently gone through a divorce. I was living in a church of my father's. It wasn't the best situation. But now I live in Slovenia. I have a hot fiance. Looks smart. I traveled to Venice recently, and my life is really good. So I'm in a good place.
Well, so why do you feel the need to be a douchebag online?
Well, you were being rude to me, so I decided to just.
No, I was just trying to ask you a question.
No, you weren't. You were just being redundantly.
You got on stage, and I was going to go first. I was already on stage, so you didn't respect the fact that I was here first.
But you just kept droning on about. Let me ask you a question. Why you don't bring me up? But you said it.
Well, so did you. You didn't mute the fuck up and let me ask you.
It was rude that you kept doing this, and then I decided to get mean.
Well, hey, it's rude that you don't let me on stage just because you don't like me.
Why would I want to be around people I don't like?
Well, if you're the moderator of a public space and you're trying to moderate a
Public is private.
well, it's essentially a public space if the room is
No,
public.
it's a private. It's my room, my house, my rules.
Yeah, but anybody can join.
Yeah, maybe they can't join the stage.
Oh, gentlemen, I hate to interrupt you, but I just wanted to tell you a quick story. Instructed by Molly, the manager, that I'm to terminate you and to fire you and walk you out of the building. And this is your last day. And he said, what the fuck, motherfucker? Why? What the fuck? And I was like, well, listen, I think you can save your job. And I think it just requires an apology. I would like to instruct you and coach you on an apology. And I will walk you into Molly's office and I will say, Molly, Tyrone wants to say something to you before I walk him out of the building. And so I coached him for I'm not kidding you, maybe 1 to 3 hours. And I was like, this is because he couldn't get it. Like he really had a hard time. Maybe it was the way I was trying to because maybe I just needed to write it down and I needed to have him read it. That was probably the best way to help him save his job. Anyways, I walk him into Molly's office after 2 hours of getting him to repeat the same thing over and over again. And she says, "What the fuck are you doing in my office? Can I help you?" And I was like, "Molly." And I was like, "Oh my fucking god!" So I think I may have blocked and then said, "Sorry, man, you have to leave." So, anyways, when I walked him out and I said, "Listen, you got to remember that this job sucks, and when one door closes, another door opens, and life is going to be great for you. And I don't think you need to worry about this." And anyways, but that was even my projection. So, anyways, I'm just trying to say that in Medina, when Muhammad issued the charter, there was a Mishling in a Jewish town. And when the charter was read as a proclamation, the Mishling, uh, there were two Jews in the town that started arguing. And as the Mishling, I was just like, do you guys just not hear the proclamation? Like, we're all fucked. You guys are arguing? What are you guys arguing about? Hello?
I think this guy is new here, good friend. We've been here. Very long. Anyway, on to the topic. How long have I been here? Yeah. What, on the app? Yeah. Too long, probably. I don't know. 2021? Okay, good. I've been on this app long enough that I used to think that John Kitover's name was invented, that he was British. Yeah.
Yeah, he's hot blooded. He's hot blooded, but you see, this is the difference between a Marcus Aurelius philosopher that believes in God and then a gay academic philosopher atheist who just views it as a dialectic, semantic, large language model or something like that, where Alan Watts says they do philosophy 9 to 5 or something. So, but again, he went through. Everybody has a broken heart. I think I like to think about my life just in. There's a book. God, it's like the women of. I can't remember some guy. Or fuck, maybe it was Aleister Crowley's wives. It's like a book about all the women that Aleister Crowley ever banged. It's like 400 women or something like that. But basically, imagine writing a book about every woman you ever slept with, every experience. That's who you are. You're not just who you're what you're back and bust a nut and just relax, you know. And I think our legal system here is like so restrictive that that's the reason why we don't have more gurus and like chill societies, and we have horrific violent gun crime and YNs flashing their guns, rapping their drill music. I mean, we have a culture of death and terrorism, internally and externally. You know, I know there's crime in other countries, horrific crime, you know, and mafia and gangsters and, you know, horrible, trashy people that murder you for your fucking moped, you know, or, you know, light you on fire on a fucking train or slice your throat on a fucking train. You know, horrible, despicable people that I wish we fucking, you know, could do public executions with and make a whole Sunday out of it. I got no problem.
That's the whole point of self-deprecation. I got there first. I beat him to the punch.
Yeah, you technically you give people an out though. You give people an out though with your first name, but when you know, anyways.
But imagine if I was like your friend, the guru, nature hero, and then they still called me a piece of fucking garbage.
Well, see, how's your new experiment going with your new phone?
Yeah, I appreciate the accountability check. I haven't really had a chance to use it yet. I do have one excuse, which is that I did cut my thumb, severely cut my thumb, so I haven't really been doing
Oh my gosh.
because my thumb was cut. But I am going to do it, and I appreciate the accountability check.
Dangerous. That's the one thing is cause and effect. Art and critic. Most critics don't know the sacrifices that the artist makes to create their criticism. That's why I really dislike critics. They're so obnoxious. It's their right, though, to be a critic, but it's your right to be an artist. And not many people think that Megatron is an artist, but I think he is a great artist. And same with Daniel Nero, and even Narges. Have you heard her sing her sexy French, you know, music? Holy shit, that chick's a winner.
position. While you are in this relaxed position and breathing rhythmically, we will use a little pillar exercise. Sit upright in your chair, both feet on the floor, alert, and fully relaxed. Join with me in this invocation. O Lord of the universe, the vast and the mighty one, ruler of the night and the darkness, we adore thee and we adore thee. Shiver upon thee.
Got a pile of clothes you never wear anymore? Turn them into cash with Vinted. Snap a photo.
O thou of the iris head, thee, thee I enter. Thou who wieldest the wand of double power, thee, thee I enter. Thou who bearest in thy left hand the rose and cross of life and life, thee, thee I enter. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy limbs as the night sky blue, thee, thee I enter. Thou whose skin is of flaming orange as though it burned in a furnace, thee, thee I enter. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is of death. O ye two divine forms upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who
accompany the beard in the house of rest, to pilot the ship of love, ever advancing onwards, the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which stands in the center. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance, wherein the path floats over the foam. I travel upon high, I tread upon the firmament of you. I raise up flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor of the daily glorified law, giving my light to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountain, the celestial waters shall flow at my word. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of the tar when he created his works. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my words. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in the silence, unutterable wisdom, or light, or power. So, Hermes, Mercury, Odin, by whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of ours. Thou, star of the east, that didst conduct the Magi, thou
Here are 5 animals that have been modified by humans. That causes muscle hypertrophy known as carbomuscle silicate. This allows for a higher meat yield per animal, although it also requires special care due to their body structure, nature. Number 4, featherless chickens.
Upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of roaring air and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God's last one may be obedient unto me.
money, or lusting, or payday. In the name of the mighty and terrible one, I proclaim that I have banished the shells unto their habitations. I invoke Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and of utterance. And I, the come of wisdom, crowns Tahuti, Lord of the gates of the universe, thee I invoke. O thou of the ibis head, thee I invoke. Thou who wieldest the wand of dark power, thee I invoke. Thou who bearest in thy left hand the rose and cross of life and life, thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy hems as the night sky blue, thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is of flaming orange as though it burned in a furnace, thee I invoke. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Who keep watch over the universe, ye who company the beard in the house of rest, who pilot the ship of wrong, ever advancing onward to heaven, Lord of the shrine which stands on the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance, wherein the path flows over the firmament. I travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of you. I raise a flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on in the splendor daily glorified, while giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountain, the celestial waters shall flow at my word. For I am Ra incarnate, Tesla. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and the God who sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of the tar when he created his works. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in the silence, unutterable wisdom, or light, or power. So, Hermes, Mercury, Odin, by whatever name I call thee, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come that is conduct the Magi, thou art the same all present in heaven and in hell. Thou that vibratest between the light and the darkness, rising, descending, changing ever, yet ever the same. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind hath borne thee in its bosom, and earth hath ever nourished the changeless guardian of light. Come thou forth, I say, come thou forth, and make all spirits subject unto thee, so that every spirit of the whirlwind of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of burning air and of rushing fire, and every spell and unto their habitations. I invoke Tahuti, the Lord of wisdom and of utterance, the God that cometh forth from the veil. O thou, majesty of the Godhead, wisdom crowned Tahuti, Lord of the gates of the universe, thee I invoke. O thou of the ibis head, thee I invoke. Thou who wieldest the wand of dark power, thee I invoke. Thou who bearest in thy left hand, the robe and light, thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy length as the night sky blue, thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is as mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung. The charioteer of the east, Lord of the past and of the future. I see mine eye of the inward light, Lord of resurrection, resurrection from the dust, and my
Amazing Claymation Alex Star.
Woe be to you, my hopes and my omnipotence, who keep watch over the universe. Ye who accompany the bier in the house of rest, who fly ever advancing
Myself.
night from the lighting of mine eye, ever rushing on, the splendor of the daily glorified law, giving my light to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountain,
Inshallah, Lua, ancestor Muhammad and Allah.
For I am love incarnate, Tesla, created in the flesh. I am the icon of my Father through, Lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands in my life. The God of wisdom, my mother. My trust is in you, and the word sitteth upon my lips. My word is a promise every day. And make all spirits sacrifice. the Iron Brother, thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy limbs as the night sky blue, the Iron Brother, thou whose skin is of flame in the
Adrian
valley
getting a
and
lot
thou
of
art
empty
burned in
spaces,
the
farting,
furnace,
playing video games, eating butter steak.
the Iron Brother. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as light unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my bones from the house of death. Two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe. Ye who carry the bier to the house of rest, who pilot the ship of wrong, ever advancing onwards, the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which stands in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance, wherein the far floats over the firmament. I travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of you. I raise up flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on from the splendor of the day glorified law, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountain, the celestial waters shall flow at my word. For I am Ra in nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of ours. Thou, star of the east, that didst conduct the Magi, thou art the same all-present in heaven and in hell. Thou that vibratest between the light and the darkness, rising, descending, changing ever and ever the same. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind hath borne thee in its bosom, and earth hath never nourished the changeless Godhead of light. Come thou forth, I say, come thou forth, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the northland and of the eastern, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and in the water, of roaring air and of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God, profaning, or lusting, or pagan. In the name of the mighty and terrible one, I proclaim that I have banished the shells unto their habitations. The iron, thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy limbs as the night sky blue, the iron, thou whose skin is of flaming orange as though it burned in a furnace, the iron. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force, whereof the gods are sprung, which is as light unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the universe. I am the charioteer of the east, lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. Oh, on, the splendor of the dangers which I love, giving my life to the dwellers of earth. If I say, come up upon the mountain, the celestial waters shall flow at my word. For I am Ra incarnate, Tesla, created in the flesh. I am the eidolon of my father Tanu, Lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and the God who sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of the tar when he created his works. I am eternal, therefore all things are as mine. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art. Thou, star of the east, that didst conduct the Magi, thou art the same fortress in heaven and in hell. Thou that vibratest between the light and the darkness, rising, descending, changing ever yet ever the same. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind hath borne thee in its bosom, and earth hath never nourished the changeless Godhead of light. Come thou forth, I say, come thou forth, and make all spirits subject unto me, so that every spirit of the whirlwind and of the ether, upon the earth and under the earth, on dry land and water, of the morning air and of the rushing fire, Thee I invoke. Thou whose head is as an emerald, and thy limbs as the night sky blue. Thee I invoke. Thou whose skin is of flaming orange as though it burned in a furnace. Thee I invoke. Behold, I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again. Mine is the unseen force whereof the gods are sprung, which is as life unto Lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, who cometh forth from the dust, and my blood is from the house of death. O ye two divine hawks upon your pinnacles, who keep watch over the universe, ye who accompany the beard in the house of rest, who pilot the ship of wrong, ever advancing onwards, the heights of heaven, Lord of the shrine which stands in the center of the earth. Behold, he is in me, and I in him. Mine is the radiance wherein we fall close to I travel upon high. I tread upon the firmament of news. I raise up flashing flame with the lightning of mine eye, ever rushing on with the splendor of the day glorified law, giving I am the eidolon of my father Tamu, Lord of the city of the sun. The God who commands is in my mouth. The God of wisdom is in my heart. My tongue is the sanctuary of truth, and a guard sitteth upon my lips. My word is accomplished every day, and the desire of my heart realizes itself as that of the tar when he created his works. I am eternal, therefore all things are as my designs, therefore do all things obey my word. Therefore do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in the silence, unutterable wisdom, or light, or power. So, Hermes, Mercury, Odin, star of the east, the distant dark
And she had known me for a long while. And we were friends before in cemetery. And
thou art my greatest between the light and the darkness.
And
Rising, blending, changing ever yet the same. The sun is thy father, thy mother the moon. The wind
yeah,
hath
listen,
borne thee
the
into the world,
universe
and
is breathing. It's pretty interesting to think about my
change
that.
the starhead of time.
Heard that.
that's nonsense.
When they call spirits up,
And it's still the most interesting conversation. The universe is being taught.
on the earth
And
and
I
under
was
the
on the
earth,
hallway at
on
something else.
dry land and in the water, of morning air and of rushing fire, and every spell and
I mean, I
spirit
thought
above
maybe
the
wrong
earth
with
may be
Pearl
only
and she was like some African bugs that were like criminals and proud of it. And I was like, okay, I'll be cool. And we're thinking, but that's fine.
Okay.
So Daniel hasn't talked much. He's sending a few messages. Hope he's well.
I think he just
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have any poems right now. So, if you want to keep it quiet, then what do you want to chat about?
Did you like the scriptures I brought up yesterday? Remember the day I was going over them with you?
Yes, I did. I even like the one that, yes, definitely. Yeah, especially when you make the understanding and correlation for me when I go from Daniel to the New Testament, where it's prophecy that is fulfilled. I mean, you can have the full understanding and scope of where it's saying, you know, it's kind of at least giving it a fair shake, as opposed to others that don't want to hear it and don't believe it and just want to argue and then not even listen to why there is such a single correlation between it and the Quran and why it's not the way it should be and the way that they see our Bible is just being cut up.
I am yesterday, today, and the brother of tomorrow. I am born again and again.
A lot of times I just say, hey, what's up, Simon? Inshallah.
Which is as light unto the dwellers in the watchtowers of the
Here's
earth.
universe. We were supposed to have this
I
shit
am
down
the
pat.
savior of the east, knower of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light,
Comprehensive
Lord of resurrection who cometh forth
understanding.
from us, and my blood is from the house of death.
But listen before mine, the rabbi was
For I am Ra incarnate,
oh man,
created in the flesh. I am the icon of my Father to move.
it was he accidentally said it.
The command is in my mouth.
He said, oh, he said something about, I said, no, the Torah is not just for the world. He says, yeah, it's for the world when the Messiah comes.
My
Thank you very
word is
much.
accomplished every day. And the
He
desire
said that.
of before do thou come forth unto me from thine abode in the silence
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, that's weird. Why would you say it like that?
Did you get it?
I don't know what he's talking about, that John.
Oh, I'll have to bring that up again. That took us a while to hear, actually.
Yeah.